Would you look at that? Just look at it. So that used to be the ugly, horrible crack in the side of the boat, and now it is no longer a crack. And I'm pretty proud of myself. I know pride is a thing you shouldn't practice all the time, but you know, this is a new skill. I'm stepping into it here. Doing something I don't know how to do. Watched a bunch of videos, tried to figure it out. There's a lot of, you know, chemistry talk on what's good and what's not. But this is pretty solid. Hard. Looks nicely bonded there. Sanded up. This is the what you're seeing here is a profile of all the layers, essentially. So I did 5 layers, alternating CSM and which is chop strand matting, and the biaxial stuff. They sell it at the auto parts store. Glass is glass. Doesn't matter. For a boat, for a car, fiberglass is fiberglass. The glass is the same. The stuff that you're using, the resin, the plastic, chemically hardened plastic, that's where you get your difference. Okay, so epoxy, polyester resin. There's debates on what sticks to what. Is it going to fall off? Isn't it? Boats are made from polyester resin because why? It's cheap, stupid cheap. So if the boat's already made out of polyester resin, as long as you sand it up and clean the surface, polyester resin is going to stick to polyester resin. So that's what I've been using. Polyester resin products made by 3M, Bondo. Get it at the auto parts store. Super cheap. Don't have to buy the marine stuff. It's a scam. Outrage. We've all been hoodwinked. Don't have to worry about it. So yeah, once I got to a certain point, again I said 5 layers on there. CSM is the basically the filler mat. It has fibers that reach out and grab on to surfaces, spiderweb out and grab on. And then the biaxial is the cloth stuff. Let's look at some of my scraps that fell off here. I got to clean up. This is biaxial. It's actually a woven cloth. Okay, this is going to act like glass tubes in 2 different directions. And from the tubular strands that are in there, all lined up in a row, that's where you're going to get your strength. So you use these for strength, and then the CSM stuff, which is this mat of cat hair looking stuff, comes in also in a cloth. That's going to give you your hold, to hold it all in place. So you kind of have to feel your materials and be a bit of a wizard with them. Yeah. So then once that was done, I put the 5 layers on there. There was still a good divot in there, a cavity, if you will. And then all you have to do for a boat, ferret it out, fill in the cavity, just like filling a cavity in teeth. You make the hole, put good stuff back in it, good to go. So to fill that in, they make this putty, which I think, nope, it's out here. It's green in color. I don't know what makes it green. It's not glass, even though it's the natural color of glass. The plastic itself is green. This stuff, Bondo glass, short strand, fiber filler. In here is essentially polyester resin with glass filler in it in a putty. You have to take cream hardener and mix it in. The cream hardener comes in a tube like this. With your container, it's probably smaller. You can buy this separately, put them together. You're going to use like 1 drop of your hardener, which is, from what I know, MEK, methyl, ethyl, who knows, MEK. You can get that stuff at Lowe's in a big, chemical container that you would get denatured alcohol or linseed oil in. It's in your chemical section. You can get this stuff. It's creamy and red, so that you know when the red mixes with the green. It's probably why they make it green. You have your proper mix. You're looking for the color change. When you have a brownish green poo color mixed thoroughly throughout your stuff, you know you're good to go. It's going to set up. So that's probably why they put them dyes in there. You can just get resin, mix it, 10 drops. Hold on a second. Alright, duty calls, being a husband, father, family man. Alright, so I said you can just use the resin and get the filler separately, which is super cheap. I don't remember how much this stuff cost. I had a smaller can of this. I think it was about $10. I used that up. It went a long way. Fantastic product. But I could just make the resin, you know, put the liquid hardener in there just like you do with the fabric. Super easy. Look up some videos on how to do that. And then put the filler into that and make a putty. It would be color free. I don't know if that really matters to some people, but it would be dye free. I know it's in there. Resin and glass. That's it. There's a question about Bondo products used on boats, even though it says that you can use it on boats. Right there, boat. Nothing else fiberglass in this picture except for that boat. The question is, some of these fillers that Bondo makes have talc in it, talcum powder. Some people use that as a filler in fiberglass products. The problem with talc is, if you know anything because you have a baby, you put the talcum powder inside the diaper to soak up moisture. That's the problem with salt water. If you have one little discrepancy, microscopic, that you can't even see in the surface of your paint, and water can touch that talcum powder, the talcum powder is going to suck it up. And there are issues like osmotic fiberglass and paint failure, where basically it sucks up the salt water, and when it dries out, the water comes out, and then you form crystals, and the pressure of the crystals busts it loose, and everything falls off. So you don't want to be using that stuff on a boat, even above the waterline, especially on sailboats. You think, oh, it's above the waterline, it's not going to get wet. Maybe that's the case on a regular boat, but even still, you got to be doing turns and stuff. That stuff is going to dip in the water from time to time. You're going to get into waves. You know, maybe up here it wouldn't be such a big deal. But down here, even above the waterline, it's going to get wet. And if it gets wet and it's salty, and even if it's not salty, it still has mineral content, you're going to have the same thing, mineral salts. Getting in that talcum powder, pulling your finish off, your fairing compound. So yeah, that's the thing. People are saying don't use talc. I'm not going to use it. I have all of these surfaces to fill that are below or above the waterline. Oh, the other thing, sailboats. Sailboats spend most of their time moving on the water on their side because the wind blows, pushes the mast sideways, the boat heels over. You're actually sailing on this part of the boat. This is all underwater while you're moving. You might not think about it. You know, that's a significant amount of time for half your boat to be underwater. It's not uncommon for you to be up to here in the water on this one side. Do you want to risk it? Put all this hard work into making your boat nice and look nice on the outside, be nice and smooth and fair and shiny and glossy, and then you're putting talcum powder underneath that it's going to just fall off, push itself out. So yeah, if you're buying Bondo products, make sure you're not buying the ones with talcum powder in them. This might even have talcum powder in it, I don't know. You can do a search of the MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. It'll tell you exactly what chemical compounds are in the chemical that you're buying. I did use that along the rails to fill small holes. It's fantastic because of the strands, the hair structure, stupid planes. The hair structure of the glass that's in there, it'll grab on the side of the hole. Whereas this other thing I'm about to talk about does not do that. So I have these large areas that I went chasing spider cracks, and apparently I'm an idiot. If you don't know what spider cracks are, this is what they look like under the paint. Okay, and this is what they look like over the paint. These occur because the boat that's made out of fiberglass flexes as stresses are being put on it, being on a trailer, going in the water. Over time, the paint can't handle the tensile stresses of the flexing, and neither can the outer layer of fiberglass, as you can see here. So you would think, oh, that's a weak structure in my glass or whatever. I need to go through and grind it all out, which is what I thought I needed to do here. Down here, I probably took off a layer or two of glass. We can see underneath here, this kind of fabric looking structure, that's definitely down to probably 2 layers of CSM, if not just one, and then some heavy duty biaxial mat that's underneath there. Not necessary. Doesn't go all the way through, as you can see here. You don't have to do it. I was told by a shipwright and old tugboat captain, I'm being ridiculous. I'm spending too much time putting these giant spots on the side of my hole that I'm gonna have to just fare back in, essentially, and then I'm just taking unnecessary amounts of glass off the outside of this hole for nothing. So here I tried fairing it back in with this cat hair stuff. This cat hair stuff, because it already has the fiberglass in it, and it's a putty, it is very difficult to get out of the can, for one, keep clean, because it gets and sticks to everything, and then 2, you can't seal it back up. And it is volatile. If you don't seal it, the stuff can come out of there and then it's no good. This was an old can, and it separates when it gets old. You have to mix it back up. That's difficult. If you just mix the resin and then add the filler into the previously mixed resin, it's much easier. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. This stuff is probably more expensive because it's already pre-mixed. And this is not a structural thing. I just have to get it smooth. This white stuff, this is the gel coat. What it looks like from a ground away side profile. Okay, it's just basically a paste that hardens on there. Probably polyester resin is what allows it to set up. So they make the very similar product. The filler is what matters, like we've been talking about. What's in between your plastic. They make glass microspheres, which I don't know how they make them. I should look that up. But it's very tiny microscopic balls of glass, and it looks like a very fine powder, like powdered sugar almost. You can get that stuff for like $20 for a bucket of it, and then you just mix that into your resin. 1 ounce of resin, 10 drops of hardener, liquid hardener that comes with it. Fantastic idea. That's what I'm gonna do. If you go out and get the marine grade fairing compound, it's the same thing. The gel coat, the fairing compound, it's the same thing. And you can get it from Bondo, polyester resin that is going to stick to your existing fiberglass for dirt cheap. You mix the resin, 1 ounce, 10 drops, put your filler in there. It turns into a putty, like peanut butter consistency. Smooth it out, sand it, make sure it's nice and smooth. Expose fresh unoxidized resin, because resin oxidizes in the sunlight. And then put your next layer on. Just keep doing that. You can go a little heavy, make a little mound, sand it down flat. Good to go. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna make that the end of this video, and then I'll make another one about the bottom paint and what I'm gonna do there, because that's a whole other topic for discussion, and this video is kind of getting a little long. I gotta run to the pharmacy. I'll be right back to make that video. I hope you guys found this video informative. Hope you guys have an outstanding day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.